Mark goes to the movies. Mark goes to the movies. Mark goes to the movies. Long game shout. Mark goes to the movies. Mark goes to the movies. Mark goes to the movies. Mark goes to the movies.
Hey guys, this is Mark Goes to the Movies. I am Mark, and a little different episode tonight. I know I'm throwing a lot at you. I'm putting a lot out there, working real hard into the morning hours, and that's because it's a busy day at the movies. And I mean, this is want to give an update on everything that the channel and everything, and just kind of show where I'm at. Wow. I talk about it a lot for my with my coworkers and everything. Employees, they ask about it. I just want to say thank you to a lot of people and just individually, uh, give them my little space. I can I give them money for listening? Can I give them I don't know, prizes? No, I can't. Cannot go that far. At least not yet, anyways. But to give them a little bit of time and speak to some of the stuff. And just the whole process. Anybody that wants to get into podcasting, maybe they don't know how to do it. I didn't know how to do it. Literally, just Google is your best friend. And this is the way I do it. I would love to go that route. So anyone wants to get into podcasting, you need microphones. That helps a ton. I don't think you have to have microphones, but I have three different kinds of microphones. One was from Amazon, it was $20. One is from another store, it was like $40. And one was the whole vlogging kit. We had like the tripods and everything like that. They were supposed to be more YouTube videos. I think the YouTube videos might be here and there. They're definitely not going to be as many as I was expecting. And it didn't say, I wouldn't say it was terrible. I have 7 subscribers. The Mark Goes to the Movies, the Peyton special was 10 views. So the movie room tour got 116 views. The Peyton special got 10 views. I'm sorry, Peyton. Really appreciate you spending the time. It was fun. It was interesting to as a I don't know, as the adult and everything, it's like it's funny seeing your kids like as not someone other your kids, like as an interviewer. Like when we were talking, we were like talking like as a person to person instead of as a father to daughter and stuff. And it was really interesting to get her opinions. And like as kids are so more like stop and just have conversation with your kids as a person and get to know them and talked about their likes and help them. And I never had that with my mom. My mom, that was awkward sometimes with them because it was like, hey, so much, you're a lot smarter than what you're letting on. uh like why apply yourself, it's kind of like one of those things where yeah I can. And it's not just certain, it's the only things I'm interested in. Like I'm not interested in actual schoolwork, but I was very interested in numbers. I'm very interested in just remembering dates and history. Love history. And like that's what I'm passionate about. So to see what my kids are passionate about, that was fun to do. However, bad numbers. I don't know what YouTube's gonna be. The podcast is fun. I like doing the podcast because I can do it by myself. I like doing the podcast with other people too. But yeah, the YouTube special, eh. Maybe we'll put the podcast on YouTube. If I could figure that out, it would go a long way. And maybe just do more. Like I have a tripod. Maybe do some more videos tomorrow when I get some sleep finally. And maybe we see what that looks like. Maybe we try that out. I don't know. Can't be any worse. Uh, the funny thing is, when you start a podcast, it started off. If anyone has never heard any of the episodes, this is the first one you start with. Weird, you start off at 23, but uh, starting it off, I started off with the website because I thought it'd be funny to have a website like Mark.com, like MySpace, back in the day. I thought it'd be funny just to do one like that, and sure enough, it was super easy to make a website through GoDaddy. And then when I told everyone, I'm gonna call it, two people have asked for a podcast for the very long time. It is Bradley Blake, who is a great friend. He was my supervisor when I was on first shift. I work for White Technology. When That's a whole nother story. We'll get in that one day. Uh, Great place to work. The It was, I trained him a lot of stuff. We talked about core values and everything. He got promoted to supervisor to third shift. I was still on first shift. He says, "Hey, come be my lead," which is the guy underneath the supervisor. He was like, "Yeah, come be my lead on third," and I really didn't want to do it. And I just got to the point where it was time to make a move, and I did it. I made the move to go to third shift. Some of the best times of my life was working with Brad. I think he's the most charismatic person by far. By far, Brad's the most charismatic person I've ever worked with. It's amazing. Like he could be a politician and I'd vote for him just because he's so likable. Like he's that kind of guy. Everyone likes him. I will stick up for Brad. The He can murder someone. I'd be like, I don't know if he did it. Even if he's like, yeah, I did it. I'd be like, oh, maybe it's not your fault. I'll defend this man to the end of the day, as long as I can. Is supportive. He's so supportive. Brad, most supportive person I've ever met in my life. The only time, as there was one time where it was kind of funny. I got into ping pong, and I was like, I'm buying a ping pong table because we used to sit next together at the desk when we were working. And I was like, I think he was like, I don't know if you should get a ping pong table. And I just bought it, just impulse buy. And sure enough, that fucking ping pong table did go to waste. It ended up being like a dining table for the outside more than anything. Aside from that, man, I have so many great work stories with that guy. I used to play pranks on him all the time, and he never got. I think he got mad at me one time. I'll see if he listens to this. I don't know if he listens to it or not, but if he listens to this and he can guess what it is, there was one prank I think really set him off, and it was hilarious. I'll tell that story one day he listens to it, and he's like, I know what it is, and he gets it right, then I'll share it with the world. Otherwise, maybe one day. And he's the most supportive person. He was very helpful with the podcast. I showed my cousin the website, and I forget the exact words, but it wasn't like, "Hey, that's really cool. That's awesome, Mark. You have a website." It was, "Oh, you should do a video review." It was like, "Oh, so you still it's not, the website needs more." So, uh Kaylee, my older cousin, we were like we're basically, raised together because our families were so poor. It was easier to raise six kids instead of two sets of three. It was usually one parent had to stay, and the other three parents went to work at a factory, usually night shift. It was so much easier to watch. And yeah, I don't know. I haven't talked to my brother and sister in years since my mom passed away. I talk to my cousins all the time. My two cousins, Josh and Kaylee, even Travis. He moved out there for a little far away. Those guys are lucky to have a better relationship. My brother and sister don't know them at all hardly. I don't know who they became. I haven't seen my sister in like 9 years. It's been a very long time since my mom died. I think it was like maybe a year after she died. No, they disappeared. They don't hear from them. Same thing with my brother, I don't hear from him either. But my cousins, the Kaylee and Josh, man, we every Thanksgiving we spend together. It was the only family I have. So appreciative of them. And if I can just brag on Kaylee and Jeremy for a minute, and Josh, Kaylee and her husband Jeremy, best parents I know. if they're listening to this, this is my test to see if they listen to my podcast, because I think they're the best parents. Like, they're the ones you see in movies where you're like, God, these guys really care for their children. They're so supportive. They're the kind of parents I would like to have. I mean, they have a daughter who's just incredible at softball, and they have a son who's just, I mean, like, it's amazing how much he's grown up. He's doing all this stuff. They're always doing stuff, and you see it on Facebook, and you're like, I ain't done shit with my kids. Like, they're the parents you strive to be, that you want to be. Kaylee said, we all kind of grew up in some crazy environments, and they, instead of like, you know, sticking with status quo like I did, Kaylee said, I'm gonna be the best parent it could ever be. And man, those guys are great. I think the world of them. Kaylee is so funny thing, trying to get followers. They turned on professional mode for my actual profile for Mark Powell. If you That's the guy, that's my name. I'm behind Mark Goes to the Movies. I had a lot of Max had was very popular on Facebook, got thousands of followers. I turn off professional mode for more privacy. When I was like, oh, I have thousands of followers, I could probably get them to go to Mark Goes to the Movies and see if they like that group, because Facebook kind of lagging. Facebook's at like 89 likes, 89 fan follows. It's not that bad. It's not the best numbers. Not great. uh when I turned it on, they were like, "Hey, you hadn't been in a while," and they're like trying to get some like some stuff down. They need some important paperwork, or not, but like film full forms need to be filled out. They're like, if you die, you need to find someone that will take control of your profile, because you have a lot of followers, and some people would use that as like a tribute. Otherwise, you could delete your profile after you're dead, after you die. So you disappear, and or a lasting legacy or whatever. And I chose Kaylee because Kaylee's the person I trust, most responsible person I know. Again, this will show if she actually listens to the podcast, because I think best person I know. Incredibly proud of her. Growing up, it's definitely a cool cousin. She got me into out of the boy band phase. I remember the summer. I don't know if we told the story with Peyton. The summer of, I can't even remember. It's whenever Enema of the State came out, and one of the Bare Naked Ladies' first album came out. They Not first album, but first big album. They were listening to. I don't know if Josh. We might not remember this. Josh was an NSYNC fan. I was a Backstreet Boys fan for maybe like a month of the summer. And then Kaylee was like, "Oh, there's this band called Bare Naked Ladies, Mark. Isn't that a funny name?" Like, obviously the joke was the Bare Naked Ladies band name. And I was like, "That's when I got into." I was like, They sound pretty great." So I got into more of the rock stuff with Bare Naked Ladies, Blink 182, uh, Matchbox 20, stuff like that. So got me out of the Backstreet Boy phase. But it was funny because I spent a lot of time over there with my cousins, and that again, with I ever get Kaylee on the podcast, like, we tell some crazy stories from how we grew up. They yeah, kind of like lived over there for a little bit because my stepdad's terrible, hated him. He's an absolute jerk, asshole. Uh, we won't give him any more attention. But yeah, I was like, the stuff we were going through, like, we did hang out with my cousins, and it was just so funny. I remember the first time we actually called into the radio station and got on the radio, and like hearing our voices and the song we requested. Like, that was a big deal. Like, now I'm on Spotify, like that's why I listen to all my music on. Just to be on that is pretty awesome. We used to play Stay With karaoke, for anybody that remembers those MTV days, where they would like have three different categories, and we'd sit there and play Stay With karaoke. And man, it was so much fun. I'm actually I mean, Josh, again, uh amazing what this man has done. He's built an empire. It's funny because we grew up dirt poor, and all of us are doing pretty well. Even Travis doing pretty well. Josh is doing pretty great. I don't know if he has time to listen. He's a very busy man, He just has a baby. Josh, you know, has Starbucks. Works on those machines. I just know he has a lot of money. He's really successful at it. The come out of nowhere. We're factory people. Like our we're not well, our parents are factory people, and Josh not a factory guy. He's a businessman. He had run his own car lot. Uh, you know, again, he is such a like he has cool stuff. He's able to do it. They survive, and those guys, Kaylee and Josh, even Travis. Till I don't know. Travis was a little younger than him. Josh is like 11 months younger than I am. So exactly 11 months. His birthday's March 22nd. I'm April 22nd. I'm 11 months older than he is. So we were pretty close growing up. That was another some of the best times just growing up together. And then it was really nice. He lived up here. When I first moved up here, we all lived in my mom's basement. And like that was pretty cool because like we were like adults starting out, and I was like we're out there, it was like it was pretty awesome. And those guys are my family. Those are the only family I have left really. And appreciate those guys so much. And then Scott Wool is best friend in the world. Him and Mark Goosens. We started off with a bigger group, and now we're just kind of the two of us, three of us. Going to Gore concerts every year. Getting older. I was looking at it and I was like, oh, we've been friends for so long, like decades. It's almost probably 2 decades, probably a little over 2 decades now. And again, appreciate those guys. Uh, anyone that listens to this stuff, I'll say there's some guys at work. Aaron Smitty, I know I gave me $2. He's the first Patreon member of Mark Goes to the Movies. He's I see, I started Worldwide when I was pretty young as well. And let me go 3 times and it's going back and forth. That's my parents work too. And yeah, it's just seeing he's young, he's impressionable, he listens like he has the whole world in front of him. I envy him sometimes because he could do whatever he wants. He's free. And he does a good job. He's always in when he got there. So when he got the shipping, he came from the lab, which the lab sounds a lot better than working in shipping. There was some things where it was like it didn't really, I don't know, say get along, but like he was pretty unhappy about being in the lab, I think, or being in shipping. And I told him, I'm like, hey man, this is not for everyone. Maybe it's best to find another spot. And then yeah, he took it as like I was trying to get him to quit. And I'm like, I believe you should be happy with whatever you're doing. Whether if you're not happy, change it. It's find your happiness. And I hope things worked out for him. He's young, he's making all kinds of mistakes. If if, I'm irresponsible with my money sometimes, 50-50 sometimes. Uh, I just go talk to Smitty and I feel so much better. I don't know if Levante listens. I haven't verified it. He says he does, but Levante's another one. He's a single dad, and anyone that's a single parent, uh, so much respect for those guys. Levante, he's moving up in the world. I'm gonna give him a shout out as well. Uh, I don't know any other listeners. I'm gonna tell you my stats for this real time stats. 5:35 in the morning. They I've released 23 episodes. Now, 4 of those episodes are for today. So they probably won't have great stats. But we'll get into the analytics. So 219 all-time listens, downloads, 219 downloads. Uh Working real hard trying to go over Instagram. I have a lot of Instagram followers. I want to say 470. I'm going to try to get 500 by the end of the day. That's my goal, 500 Instagram followers. And then by my birthday, we talked about the goals is to get 1,000 listens, 1,000 downloads. I want to get 1,000 Instagram followers. Facebook is a little more difficult, it seems. If you're listening, hey, please help to the goal. I have a map I put out there, and I think we're gonna knock out Virginia because someone from Virginia has listened. If you're from your state and you give it a listen, and it pops on this map on the RSS. This is where I upload my podcast to. If you're listening and you're in that state, you can knock your state out. You could put your state on the map. You could be that guy. And again, man, if anybody that wants to have a conversation, reach out on Instagram, reach out on Facebook. It's always Mark Goes to the Movies. That's always the Facebook. That's the Instagram group. I don't know how Snapchat works, to be honest. It's a little like it's all over the place with that one. And yeah, I mean, I'd love to talk about whatever, get some ideas. I have unlimited time. It seems like I can do a lot of podcasts, and we'll brag you on there. I just want to brag about my some coworkers and some friends and some family, and uh, and see if they listen. See if they actually listen. My kids listen. I make them listen though. I'm like, you should listen to my podcast if you want to see how Scream 7 is. And they're very supportive. It's really interesting. uh I don't know, they get their kids to get their friends to listen. uh like, hey, you listen to my dad's podcast? That sounds really nerdy and really weird. So I don't know if they're promoting me like they say they are. They're interested. Look, I'm very proud of my children. They it is very scary. I will say I am 100% excited that Julie turned 18, and her time, I'm about to be an empty nester at some point in the near future. A year at least, a year minimum is what it is. I'm gonna be an empty nester. I'm turning her room into my podcast studio. So good stuff. It's very excited. But yeah, there's honor roll student. She returned it around. Just so it's funny because I went to see Scream 7 by myself and I felt bad, but at the same time it's like, yeah, you gotta try to motivate your kids. If they want to see Scream 2, you gotta get your money, and you could pay for it, and do it that way. And you can't sit there and baby them forever. You gotta push them out the nest. You gotta push them to grow, and get them to get better. And so it's a little interesting. uh Sometimes a little more frustrating than others. So, but yeah, this is I just want to do a listener appreciation. We'll probably change the name of it to friends and family. And yeah, so those guys, uh Kaylee, Josh, Scott, Brad, Levante, and Smitty, and Ren, another one. I know Ren, we don't talk about the podcast enough, but I'll give Ren a shout out. And Dennison, if Dennison's listening, Dennison, I will put it out there for the whole world. We had a disagreement about the bullying, because he likes to bully. I will stop saying this. Dennison does not bully. For if he needs validation on this, I'll tell the whole world he does not bully. All right. I hope he's happy. I hope he's happy. I know he listens on YouTube. I know he watches the YouTube video, and there's very few followers in that one. So I'll give him his shout out for that one. Dennison's great. His story is interesting. If I could ever, maybe I'll get him on the podcast. If is in there, he likes to say his English isn't so great. It's fine. I've seen worse. And maybe he's one of the guys to get on here, but you can do one on break at lunch, and get him on the podcast. His story is crazy. Like, when he told me his stuff when he first came over, he's not from this country. uh he had legally come over here, and he's met his husband and stuff. His story is crazy. So I'll give those guys a chance, and spread it out there. But those guys, they make work so much fun. There are plenty of guys I miss working. Johnny Lloyd, I miss that guy. He was one of my leads. He's moved on to being a great supervisor. Austin's another guy. So much fun to work with. Tim King. I don't know if Tim listens to. I've shared this podcast so many times. I hope he listens to at least one or two of them. At least this one. Tim is a guy I miss working with. I like working with Leon. Leon's pretty cool. He's on second shift. He's on the wrong. He's on the second shift. I won't say it's the bad shift, but I wish he was on third shift because he's a really cool to talk to. Really respect his opinion. And yeah, just so many people I work with. You can just go on and on. I have a great co-supervisor in Joe, great boss in Danny. You know, was lucky enough to replace the old boss, Truth Worth Trillions, that guy. And Danny's pretty cool, and I got a pretty cool co-supervisor. And as everyone's been so supportive, no one's been like, "That's stupid. Your podcast is dumb," which is what I worry about all the time. I worry about some internet trolls just being like, "Your podcast sucks," and I'm like, "Oh, damn." I'm a little self conscious, but I never listen to them. So if you're listening to it and it sounds bad editing, which happened during the first Scream 7 one, I did a one for Scream 7 and it was edited terribly, and I didn't find out until I had already released it for a couple hours, and then I was like, I have to take this off because it's not good. But yeah, you know, this is my friends and family special. Appreciate all you guys. If you enjoy this and you're like you want to get a shout out, man, I'm looking for people as supporters. So these guys are just so far the ones that have just supported me through everything, and very thankful for them. So this has been Mark Goes to the Movies, and I am Mark. You guys stay safe.
Marco